Who are the top 10 teams in the NFL entering week 5? What's going on, football fans? It's Mitch back here with another Colin Cowherd top 10 teams in the NFL. My thoughts on Colin's list. Is he right? Is he wrong? Gronk spike the like. Don't forget to subscribe for more NFL reactions and Colin Cowherd top 10 reactions just like this. And let me know in the comments what you think of Colin's top 10 teams in the NFL. Always controversial, sometimes accurate. Let's see if he's right entering week 5. Let's hear it, Colin. Can't wait, baby. I love watching these, man. I love watching these. Let's start. Let's start, Colin. Let's go, bro.
It's Tuesday. It's time. A herd hierarchy.
Wait, hold on a second. 1 second before this amazing graphic that I love. Is this guy Colin growing his hair out? Is it just me? Is there something in the background there? Or is this guy growing his hair out? Somebody please let me know. Important information.
Hierarchy.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top
This is such a good graphic.
10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
Man deserves a raise. I say it every week.
I thought Seattle.
Seahawks at number 10. I want to hear what he has to say, but I think we have probably pretty similar thoughts on Seattle. The way the offense looked against Detroit, and I saw glimpses of that against the Patriots in week 2. This offense, man, really clicking on all cylinders in the passing game. Geno Smith is playing at a next level. I don't think people are really understanding how good Geno is playing. From a pocket mobility, elusiveness standpoint, keeping plays alive, the accuracy at which he's throwing the football, I mean, wow. Like top-notch accuracy in and outside the pocket, scrambling when he needs to. DK, JSN, and Tyler Lockett, that's got to be a top 2 or 3 wide receiver trio in football. DK is looking like an absolute animal. Top 5, top 6 receiver. JSN is slippery underneath, and Lockett kind of does a combination of both. Kenneth Walker is a monster. We knew that entering the NFL, but I think he's currently having his breakout campaign. I think for the rest of the year, he's going to look like one of the top running backs in football. And the most impressive part is they went toe-to-toe, score for the most part, against Detroit. They did trail for majority of the game, but it felt like they were always in it without a lot of their defense in that game. Like they're starting 4 on their defensive line, and then they lost Julian Love at safety later on. So really impressed by Mike McDonald, super impressed by the new offense. Love how much they're throwing it and the precision and the level of consistency of the passing game. And I'm just really enjoying watching this team. They're very smart on both sides of the ball, and they're led by a quarterback that truly has the belief of his teammates. So I think the defense will continue to improve, which makes the Seattle Seahawks a very interesting contender in the NFC. I think they could be the best Seattle team since like 2016. Like it's been a while since I've been this impressed by a Seattle team.
Missing their 4 best defensive linemen. Looked great. Geno Smith, that dude throws a beautiful ball. Is totally in tune with DK Metcalf. I like their running backs. I mean, I'm sorry. Geno leads the NFL in passing yards, second in completion percentage. Kenneth Walker. I was blown away. Seattle didn't have their 4 best defensive linemen against the best O-line in the league.
Yeah, exactly. This is great, Colin. I totally agree with you, man. Seattle is pretty good, man. And we thought they would be before the season, but you really see it in front of us. I think Geno's play is probably the wild card at which maybe I didn't see. Like, Geno has played well in 2022 and 2023. 2023, I thought he maybe take a little bit of a step back there, but 2024, he has taken his game to the next level. I don't know if it's the offense or what it is, but the guy looks really good.
Knew they wouldn't make stops. I thought Geno was exceptional on a Monday night on the road, Seattle at 10.
Number 9.
Texans. Only loss came on the road to the Vikings. They got housed, didn't have Joe Mixon.
Okay, I think number 9 for the Texans is fair. I'm a little disappointed with how they're playing in terms of quality, not in terms of results. They're 3-1. That's totally cool. But results and quality are different. I think that they're too sloppy on offense. They're hurting themselves with penalties, negative plays, sometimes dumb play calling, too much reliance on the run game when they should be a pass-heavy team. Defensively, I think they've been pretty darn good, and I think they'd look better if the offense wasn't so sloppy and was the offense we expected. But there are some flaws, as we may have thought before the year, in the secondary. I think linebacker 2 has been not maybe as good as we would have hoped, but the D-line has lived up to the hype. The Texans have a huge game against the Bills. They can prove a lot here, or they might be taking a step back to reevaluate to ultimately take a step forward. I still believe in this team long term because they're still winning despite not playing quality ball, which is awfully similar to the Chiefs.
But they're top 8 offense, top 5 defense, and I love C.J. Stroud. Joe Mixon's coming back. Listen,
are they actually a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense, like statistically? That wouldn't shock me, but it does sound a little off.
C.J. Stroud is a young quarterback. Did you see Caleb Williams this week when he got a run game with DeAndre Swift? Oh, Caleb looked pretty good. As good as C.J. Stroud is, and he's got his weapons like Nico Collins,
Nico Collins, by the way, is a top 5 receiver in the NFL.
Young quarterbacks especially, they need their running backs. Joe Mixon returns. I like Houston 9.
Stroud, I feel like less so than a majority of young quarterbacks. I actually think what's hurting the Texans is they're running it too much. Like, a lot of the games I see they're in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 9. Their early down performance on offense is not good enough. I think that is also what's hurting them on offense.
Number 8.
The Packers. It's weird. They're 0-2 with Jordan Love.
Which, by the way, could have something to do with not having Mixon. So having Mixon will help their first down offense. But I think the run reliance is a little weird. Number 8, the Green Bay Packers. I can't really disagree. I have them at 7. I think I have the Texans maybe a spot higher than I have them. And I think I have the Seahawks at the exact same spot. So no real argument so far. I think the Packers, I'm just not impressed with Jordan Love right now. I think Jordan Love has been extremely underwhelming. He's played the Vikings and he's played the Eagles. The Eagles defense, I think, is mediocre at best. And I think Minnesota has a very good defense. But I just have not been excited by how Jordan Love is consistently throwing with accuracy or timing. I feel like he's not reading the field very well. And I feel like he's still missing those throws that he shouldn't be missing at times. So I just want to see Jordan Love take that step. I want to see Jordan Love take that step. And perhaps that will happen near the end of this season. I still feel like the defense is a little unreliable, especially at linebacker and at the secondary corner positions. But the O-line is good. I think they'll get their run game going soon. And I really have been impressed by Reed, the receiving core, Matt LaFleur in general as a coach. I want more consistency from the quarterback. I want more consistency from the defense. But otherwise, I do think they're very good and they're very well coached.
2-0 without him. They do lead the NFL in big plays. I like all their structure.
They're very explosive.
Sure. Listen, Jordan Love hasn't taken a lot of snaps because of the injury, and he's not quite ready to go. Second half, the offense looked better than the first half. They lead the NFL in take.
That was promising that at least they came back against the Vikings. They didn't get completely blown out.
So Green Bay is a feisty, aggressive defense, which is what their fans have been complaining about for years. How come the defense can't be as good as the offense? I still think Green Bay is an ascending team.
I do feel the same way. They will be better at the end of the year than they are now. There's no doubt about that. I definitely agree with that. And that's what I said before the season. That's why I didn't have them winning their division over Detroit, because I thought this would be a Packers team that's still young, that's still growing, that will have its growing pains. But by the end of the year, they're going to be a contender. And I still feel that way. I just need more from the defense, consistency. I need the Jordan Love that we saw at the end of the year, because the Jordan Love right now is just kind of a little bit more of that guy we saw at the beginning of last year. Just not good enough.
It is a young team with a quarterback that comes in rusty. They're going to be just fine.
Number 7.
I don't know what to do with the Commanders, but they're breaking every single NFL record offensively.
Number 7 is kind of crazy, Colin. The Commanders at number 7? You must be missing a team on this list that should be ahead of them. I don't see Tampa yet, but I do recall Tampa beating the Commanders in week 1. And I understand that was week 1, rookie quarterback. The Commanders were handled by Tampa Bay, a 3-1 football team who has the same record as the Commanders. Let's think about the Commanders' track record, right? Like, I'll say this for Washington fans. They have far exceeded my expectations. Jaden Daniels looks way better than I ever would have thought. The offensive line's playing better than I would have thought. The offense under Cliff Kingsbury is way more efficient and way more pretty to watch than I ever would have thought. And everything's going amazing for them. Their defense still sucks. There's no debate about that. There's no doubt. But they've played the Cardinals. They've played the Bengals with a beat-up defensive line. They've played the New York Giants. I am 1-3 picking Commander games. Okay, I'm 1-3, and I'll admit that. But like, let's see them play some more legitimate competition first. The only legit opponent they've beaten is the Bengals, right? And then they lost to the Bucks. So I don't know. I'm not willing to put them in the top 7 in the NFL. And you have them first in their division, which I also think is a little bold, a little spicy, a little hot, but not exactly inaccurate. I could buy that. I would still probably say the Eagles, when they're healthy, are better, but it's tough. I could see you maybe sneaking them in at 10, but I think I have them around like 14, 15 range. I'm not quite there because they're a one-dimensional team. They're an offense. They don't have a defense. And I think other teams that are better on defense will be more competitive against this team. So I just need to see more from them.
Jaden Daniels, we thought he was going to be like Lamar Jackson light. Is he? Or is he just Lamar Jackson? I mean, the kid's incredible. I just read here this.
Also, is anyone not doubting that Cliff Kingsbury is going to continue this success? Because he used to always in Arizona have like the best first month in the NFL, like every year. Does anyone else remember that, or am I the only one that lives in this dimension? Like, can somebody please confirm? Cliff Kingsbury is the September wizard.
This morning, he has 5 total touchdowns and 6 complete incompletions over the last.
It's hard to deny that Jaden Daniels isn't very good, though. Jaden Daniels looks really good because the combination of precision in his passes, accuracy in tight windows, in terms of just like every ball he throws has been on the money. Doesn't matter if it's a screen or if it's down the field. The ball placement, for the most part, is phenomenal. And that's highly, highly an efficient trait in the NFL. That's a translatable trait in the NFL. That's what I liked about him coming out of college. And then his mobility has translated better than I would have thought. He's quicker and faster at the NFL level than I thought he was. He's more elusive, I would say. More slippery from sacks and things than I would have thought. His size, to a certain degree, still concerns me. He hasn't really got hit yet, but maybe he's just slippery enough, like Lamar, to avoid those hits. So, time will tell. But so far, those 2 traits of mechanics, accuracy, and elusiveness, quickness, speed has translated beautifully. And I could see a Lamar Jackson trajectory for him.
Last 2 games. I do think the Cliff Kingsbury OC hire, and we predicted this, we thought Washington would be a playoff team. I think all flushing out the bad vibes, the bad owner, bringing an entirely new organization in, owner down. For the first time in a decade, everything is good vibes and positivity. I don't know where it lands. I don't know when the regression is coming.
I still think 7 is pretty wild.
But I thought Arizona was one of the better sides of the week, and they blew them out in Arizona. I'll put Washington at 7.
Number 6.
I know they won last night, but that defense on the back end. Jared Goff won.
The Lions are only at 6? See, like, I understand the defense doesn't look great, in the secondary. But I think a lot of people fail to realize that matchup with Seattle is a bad matchup. And despite that, Detroit still won. Now, maybe they don't win if Seattle's healthy on defense, and we'll reconsider that once we get to the playoffs, right? That's where upset could happen. But there are things in the NFL, matchups, that are difficult for teams. Not every team is made to beat every team in terms of the way they're built. Seattle, with those receivers and the way that Geno is able to throw that ball against man coverage, I don't know many teams that can do that to Detroit. There are not many teams in the NFL that can dice Detroit up that way. There's probably 5 or less. And then you also have to be able to stop the Lions, which not a lot of teams in the NFL can do, right? So Detroit, I still feel very, very good about them. I still feel like, especially with Jared Goff playing the way he did against Seattle, the efficiency, like no incompletions is outrageous. Their running game is a powerhouse. Jamison Williams is a big play waiting to happen. I want more out of Sam Laporta. I want more out of Arnold. Brian Branch didn't play, right? People forget about that. I think the pass rush was a little underwhelming against Seattle. But again, matchups matter. There are not that many teams that can actually throw up 350 through the air against Detroit. There's just not a lot of them.
Once again, is the strength of a team, and nobody wants to acknowledge it. In the last 2 weeks, he's completing 88% of his throws.
I would not say Jared Goff is the strength of the team by a long shot, though. I do think the strength of the team is the running game, and that's without a doubt.
They've got an over-the-top receiver. They have Amon St. Brown. They have 2 backs I like, a great offensive line. Don't trust Dan Campbell in situational football. But here's the reality with Detroit.
I still think they're too low. They're a top 5 team.
It's hard not to be a good team when you have a dominating running game and a dominating O-line and a very capable Super Bowl quarterback. They're just going to win a lot of games. They're going to mash a lot of people, and it's not always going to be pretty. I have Detroit at 6.
Number 5.
Buffalo. Now they're getting some of their linebackers who...
Fair. Buffalo at 5 is fair. I do think people are slightly overreacting to the Ravens' loss just because the Bills were injured. And I know that we knew that entering the game, but when you're missing your top 2 linebackers and you're missing arguably the best nickel corner in the league and you're missing safeties, that matters, right? Like, especially in a matchup, again, matchup league on the road against a team that's a powerhouse running team and you're missing your linebackers and your middle of the field defenders against a really good 2 tight end set. And, you know, that matters. So the Bills will have better days. I think that 5 is honestly their floor right now, the way they're playing. I think their defense will play better. I believe in McDermott on that side. And I think the offense, I just really like the balance that they now have in this new Joe Brady offense. Do I wish they had one more receiver? Yes. But it is what it is. I think Allen can beat any team. And the Bills, I think, are as big of a contender right now as anybody, I think, honestly.
Who were injured back. They were a mess this past week, and they ran into a buzzsaw. It's called Lamar Jackson. He does that at home a lot. He blew out the Niners and the Lions last year in Miami. I'm not selling my Buffalo stock. I think they have offensive balance between Kincaid and James Cook. The rookie receiver looks special to me.
Khalil Shakir. People put respect on Khalil Shakir's name, bro.
I think Buffalo's going to be fine. They've been a roller coaster for years. All Kansas City games look the same. Buffalo doesn't. Buffalo.
That's true.
Is a little Dallas Cowboy. They're a little Mike Tyson. Knockout or unraveling. That's kind of their DNA. I still think they're good. Buffalo 5.
Number 4.
Actually, that's not true in terms of unraveling because they've only lost 2 games since 2021 by more than single digits, right? Like by more than 1 score even. So that's not actually true.
San Francisco. So now they're getting their guys back, Debo and Kittle. They don't have Christian McCaffrey, but the reality is they lead the NFL in time of possession. I
still think you can make an argument that when the Niners are healthy, they're the best team in the NFL. But I don't know like when they'll be healthy, if they'll ever be healthy this year. Like that's the problem. Like they just have so many injuries, especially on defense right now. And offensively, still waiting for McCaffrey to come back. But man, Brock Purdy, it could really be the difference this year. Like, I am all on the Brock Purdy train right now. He has never played better than this. He is ascending as a player. Third year Brock Purdy, man. He's coming through. And with all the weapons coming back, including Ricky Pearsall, who people have forgotten about, and McCaffrey, you got Debo, Kittle, Jawan playing at his peak of his powers, Brandon Ayuk. The O-line is actually, I think, better than last year too. Like, the offense is going to be a juggernaut by the time it's the playoffs. I mean, if they're healthy, look out. The defense, we'll see. The defense is the Achilles heel, and we'll see if they're healthy enough to be able to be competent enough to aid this offense to where they want to go. But when you look at the current NFL right now, I mean, would you take anybody really over the Niners at full strength health-wise? The thing is that the Niners just have not been that way. So we will see, San Francisco.
Shanahan, Purdy, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, Jennings. Come on. When this team is healthy, with or without Christian McCaffrey, it's a really good football team. And again, Fred Warner is playing linebacker.
No. With Christian McCaffrey, that's when they're healthy, because Christian McCaffrey is a dog. Also, yes, Fred Warner is probably the best defensive player in the league this year.
At a level we have not seen for a long, long time. San Francisco at 4.
Number 3.
I'll never sell my Raven stock. I'll never sell it.
Yeah, the Ravens are looking good, man, even though they are 2-2, right? They're only 2-2. Like, we're acting like they're 4-0. They're 2-2. They lost to the Raiders, right? But they looked great against the Bills, and I thought that they looked really good against Dallas. So it's 2 weeks consecutively that I think their defense has improved. I thought their pass rush looked better than expected against Buffalo. Their secondary is on paper, one of the most talented secondaries in football. For whatever reason, they're struggling against the pass. Maybe they'll figure that out. The offense, though, I love this playing through Derrick Henry in the run game right now and kind of working from there. My concern is the same concern as always. When they're trailing, when they have to throw, how good is the team? And how good is the defense when they know you can be balanced, right? Like, this is a different defense when they're trailing, and this is a different offense for sure, without a debate. This is where they've gotten in trouble in the playoffs. They start trailing, and they lose because they're not built for that. So I want to see that versatility be able to come through, and right now I'm still concerned about the drop-back passing game. But every other area is competent enough in this NFL. Once again, like I said with the Niners, it's more about their offense. With the Ravens, they have more balance, but especially the run game on offense and defense is superb. So I feel like, and plus they have that elite quarterback. To me, with the Ravens, they can win it because of those areas. And yes, they have flaws, but every team right now has flaws.
They look like the fastest team in the league. If Kansas City's got the fastest defense, they have the fastest offense. And he may never beat Patrick Mahomes. Number 1 total offense with Derrick Henry now. Number 1 rushing offense. They're not very good on the back end. Everybody's got a flaw. You start paying your quarterback huge money, everybody's got a hole. The Chiefs have a wide receiver hole now with Rashee Rice. Ravens have a little bit of a hole. I like Kyle Hamilton. Maybe they have a cornerback issue. But I'm not selling.
Maybe corner. But I don't know, man, unless Marlon Humphreys just dropped off. But on paper, it doesn't look too bad with Stevens and the first-round pick out there.
In my stock, Derrick Henry leads the league in rushing with Lamar. Buffalo literally looked like they were waving the flag Monday night. Like they had zero answers, 9 yards of play.
Number 2.
Minnesota, I don't think it's a fluke. I didn't buy into the Saints. I'm not sure if I bought into the Jets after they beat New England. I buy into
Yeah, I've given up. Put the white flag like Buffalo, he said. I give up. Vikings are good. All right, Sarah? Yeah, Vikings are good, okay? Their defense is really good. I love Flores. It's not hard for me to admit this, guys. I don't know why you think I hate every team in the league, but yeah, I've always liked Sam Darnold. I didn't think he was the best quarterback in the draft. I didn't think he was the second best quarterback in the draft. That was reserved for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but Sam Darnold was third for me, and I like Sam Darnold, and even people used to compare me to, thought we looked alike, but I don't think we do. Anyways, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, all playing great football. Their O-line, low-key, is the most underrated area of their team. And the defense, again, like, I just love the style of it. It's so Patriot-like. I just adore it. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing not to like. It's just, will they keep it up? Will they regress? Will teams kind of figure them out offensively? Sam Darnold is still a concern for me. Aaron Jones getting older. I'm worried he's going to get hurt. But there's things that I think will hold up. Like, I think their pass rush is better than last year from a depth perspective. Their linebackers, I think, are better. Their safeties are awesome. Gilmore really helps this team, I think, more than people realize. So, yeah, I think the Vikings are an NFC contender.
This team, everything works. Their defensive coordinator's excellent. Their special teams are consistent. Their offense is amazing. They have the tall Sean McVay as a
amazing on offense, a little far, but we'll take it.
Coach. They're not only 4-0, they're 4-0 against the spread. They're beating people badly. Darnold leads the NFL in touchdown passes, passer rating, and
can they go to London and win? We will see.
The defense leads the NFL in sacks. It's not a star-studded defense. It's not Kansas City where you can see it completely disrupting people and it's the same 2 or 3 guys. It's Chris Jones every week wreaking havoc. It's not that, but it's good and it's exceptionally coached, and I have Minnesota at 2.
Number 1.
Listen, Mahomes is 18-14 when trailing by 10 or more points. That's a silly stat.
The Chiefs, I know they do this every year. I can hear ultra. But man, like, the Chiefs are not that good. Like, I know. I say this every year, but has anyone else watched them play? Like, am I the only person that thinks this? They really aren't that good. Like, they've got to lose at some point. They're not playing that well. They barely beat the Chargers with, like, 3 of their best players out. They shouldn't have beat the Bengals if not for the refs. They shouldn't have beat the Falcons if not for the refs. And they beat the Ravens by a toe. The thing where the Chiefs rank number 1, number 2 for me is they're just consistent. You can rely on them the most. They have a very good defense, and they, for the most part, have a very good quarterback and a very good coach. And they have very good coaching, right? So, and they've got an amazing kicker. But in terms of the prettiness of it, it's not top 10. Like, it's not that fun to watch this team play, but they're winning still. So we'll see. Can they do this again?
But the other thing that we have to acknowledge, Rashee Rice had become a really, really elite receiver.
Yeah, that's something that hasn't happened to them in this repeat. And that's kind of what typically does happen, is these great teams are great still, but then they lose pieces. Trust me, from a Patriots fan. But that's basically what happened to the 03-04 Patriots. The 05 Patriots just got hurt. That's what happened, right? Like, Teddy Bruschi had a stroke. Rodney Harrison got injured for the year, and they lost some players. And that's basically what happened. And that's what could happen to the Chiefs here. Like, Rashee Rice was a huge player for them. He was an ascending receiver, like a number 1 receiver in this league. He was like number 2 in fantasy points. So that is a massive loss, especially if Kelsey is not the Kelsey that he was a couple years ago or the playoffs last year.
And you cross your fingers, but that's trouble. Xavier Worthy's not a volume guy, but he is an over-the-top guy. Are they going to be at the trade deadline in the market for a receiver? I'm not quite sure. They won last year without Worthy.
I think they'll trade for someone. I don't think it will be Adams. I'm not sure who. Maybe like Amari Cooper or Deontay Johnson would make sense, but we'll see.
They didn't even have an over-the-top receiver. Again, their structure's so good, but Mahomes has...
It wouldn't make sense if they didn't trade for someone. Let's just put it that way. They kind of need to make a move.
5 picks, and 4 have been ugly. I just kind of trust them. Every game looks the same. I've said this for 2 weeks. They look like New England. You're just very good defensively, great coach, amazing quarterback. I mean, how many great receiving cores did New England have? It always felt like they had an Edelman or they'd have a Welker. When they had Moss, they didn't win a Super Bowl. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe.
All right. Uncle Colin, thanks for the content. Appreciate it. Let me know what you guys thought of Colin Cowherd's top 10 teams in the NFL. It's a Mitch. Thanks for watching. Gronk, spike the like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Deuces.